Hi, everyone. Welcome back to this episode of Verifiably Random, where we bring you stories of builders and partners launching cool products on Algorand. And today we have a very special episode for you, recorded live from DevConnect in Argentina. I had a fireside chat with the founder CEO of Noah, Shah Ramezani, and I really hope you enjoy this episode. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you guys had a good time this morning and earlier learning all things about Algorand. So the remainder of the day is really about showcasing projects, builders, and cool things that are launching on Algorand. And I thought we could kick it off with a hot topic, which is the rise of the neo crypto banks. And there's no better person to talk about that than with my guest, Shah here, who is the founder CEO of Noah. And we will dig into exactly what Noah is, of course, but it is a platform that enables all these neo crypto banks. So I'm excited to dig into that. And I'm very excited to share the news that Algorand will, in fact, be integrated and supported on Noah soon. So for all of you building cool applications out there, Neobank features is coming to you through Noah. All right. So before we get into that, let me just maybe start by saying, maybe if you can tell us a little bit about what you have had a pretty career background in consumer retail and finance, but how did you get into crypto? How did this thing become what you're working on?
So I met a very smart investor. So I told him I want to build a huge company. And he said, if you want to build a huge company, you have to stop playing yesterday's game. So what he meant by that is, let's say I started like dabbling into what I want to do, let's say 4 or 5 years ago. 5 years ago, people were telling me, yeah, SaaS, this category, SaaS, software as a service. And his point was the people who actually build great companies around SaaS were doing it at a time when it was super weird. It was on-prem was the thing, and people were telling them, if you do a cloud, it's not safe. It's not going to happen. So they made a conscious bet on building towards that direction because they thought in first principles and that should work. And that's what people are saying. That's the future. And as the market would correct in terms of understanding, they would be already early placed in that space and grow very fast. So for me, there were really two industries that you could pick 5 years ago. It was crypto and AI.
How do you feel about picking crypto over AI?
I love crypto. I think it's very exciting because I don't think crypto is from a technological standpoint, I don't think it's like a very sophisticated industry, right? It's not like AI, but it's not about that. It's really a social change. It's a change in the way we think and the way we work. And I found it very interesting because there was a lot of idealist people who thought about how society should be reshaped, and there was so much passion and I just love that. I think there was a lot of smart people, and I thought I can relate with them, and I want to build towards that.
I love it. 5 years later, still conviction that crypto was the right place to go. And so in 2020, you launched Noah, and if anything, I think that's kind of considered an OG in our space for neobanks. Can you talk a little bit about Noah, how it came to be, and for those, and explain what Noah is today?
Yeah, so 2020, I was assembling the team. Bear in mind, I had no understanding of crypto, nor fintech, nor regulation, anything. Started hiring engineers. And so I was thinking very much in first principles. My first understanding from crypto was, so what are the use cases? And if you really bring it down to first principles, a lot of it was gambling, which is fine. I mean, it's a great business as well. But I was very convinced that there is going to be beyond that, greater use cases that are going to be far beyond gambling. Let's like take the analogy to the internet, like 1995. There was e-commerce and like these search websites, but then later on, you had internet permeating into everyday life, like social media, WhatsApp, Zoom, and all these things are great applications we use day to day, and it's like changing our lives for the better. And I thought about crypto similarly. So the question was, technology will adopt in sequences, right? So if stablecoin is not in place, you will not have, as you said, tokenized assets or so the question was, what is a sequencing of event? And my conviction was it has to be around payments. And I thought back then that, the future neobanks, they won't build the way Revolut built it, or they will just launch a non-custodial backends and sell these assets that are actually uh, okay. So one is a more greater distribution as a neobank because it's like non-custodial from a regulatory perspective. You can serve the world, but also the main innovation I found was if you give dollars or Bitcoin to everyone in the world, it's a much better outcome than giving them local currency because that for sure loses value. So then I thought we were going to build the money app of the future. And that's why we named it Noah because we wanted to build Noah's Ark to save everyone from the flood, which is the flood of mass currency devaluation.
Wow. So actually, it might be helpful to define actually what a crypto neobank is. For me, it feels like it's kind of an app that gives you all the banking-like services. So you can earn, you can save, you can maybe spend, but it also gives you access to the fiat world super easily. How do you define what a neobank is and what they do?
So I think the crypto neobanks leverage the unique opportunity of building banking-like application with the crypto backend, which is more, permissionless. And the way you would build a traditional neobank is you would go and find a bank, and then you do the ledgering, and the bank holds custody. A crypto neobank is not built on a bank, so it's basically more built on a crypto, I would say, backend. But from a consumer perspective, you would probably not. I mean, the more you abstract away, you should not see the difference. But from the way it was built, foundational, it's much more scalable.
For the user, you can think of it as a bank, but the product itself is not built on bank as a banking starting point. But then, can you talk about the connection? Because this is what Noah is, right? Can you talk a little bit about what does it mean to be building on crypto infrastructure but tapping into the traditional banks?
So yeah, maybe let's segue because we don't do the app anymore, right? We became an infrastructure player for neobanks. So we were obviously too early for crypto neobanks because back then there were no banks who wanted to build ramps, and there were no card programs who were going to aggressively issue cross border. So we thought, why don't we make that change happen and be part of that change? Crypto neobank will never be a thing if it's not converging very tightly with fintech. Otherwise, you're just going to have siloed application. Like, what's the point if I send you $1 million of someone's stablecoins if you can't connect it, if you can't exchange it to anything? We realized the most important thing to make that happen is compliance and legal because ultimately, if you think about from a first principle perspective, crypto is the most monitorable asset, like it or not. So I don't understand why banks don't get it. So it was more, no one really made the legwork on demonstrating to them that there is no risk, there is no fraud. You can do this very compliantly, and it's actually better than what you guys have before. So we took that task and we said we want to unlock all the banking rails and basically provide that to the neobanks and make them grow faster. So the crypto neobanks don't want to deal with regulation. Like, that's not their thing. They want to build great user experience, great ideas, and then they want to leverage our compliance infrastructure to issue bank accounts for their clients, settle against stablecoins, and do all the fiat on our farm. So that's like where we're sitting. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. But I guess I was curious. Are you seeing any fintechs and traditional, call it neobanks, interested in tapping into the crypto
Yes.
world? Okay.
So I can't say any names, but I'm talking about very large ones. I mean, first of all, Revolut obviously very aggressively already in stablecoins, but I see a lot more coming because they see these crypto neobanks are growing extremely fast. So in a way, they're also afraid because they could quickly take over with less investment. So they're kind of combating that by joining and understanding what's this about. So yeah, I see across the board so many companies right now looking at this and actually launching their pilots just to have their foot in the door.
Yeah, it's interesting that you started with this direction, but it's actually bi-directional right now in terms of the interest and where the business is going. And I guess I'm going to take a phrase from you, which is when we chatted earlier, you said neobanks are not new, right? They're like popping up left and right, but it's the right time, right place. And right now, neobanks are really taking off. What is it about right now that's making these neobanks really take off in terms of traction?
There were a few bold banks, I don't want to say names, but you can find out yourself, who took the bet because they were first principle thinkers and they said, we will bank crypto companies like us. Tether was buying a lot of T-bills. They understood, oh, so, and that's what I also always believed in. And I was like, the US one day will understand stablecoin is in their favor because they're distributing their dollars so that hence they can, create more. I think once that administration change happened, they realized they need to be behind this because what you want to do is get more dollars around the world. You want to dollarize the world, and basically the crypto rails are distribution mechanism, and that step change led to one and off, led to a few different changes. So it was basically legitimizing the industry as a whole from a regulatory perspective, like from a political. I mean, regulatory was never an issue. It was like a political thing. These different regulation, regulatory
And there's
bodies
enforcements
they
and
would go after. It was political thing. So now the pendulum has swung on the side of the tech people, and I think the step change was that now you can issue bank accounts for crypto wallets, and you can do that actually cross border in many jurisdictions, Africa, Latam. And so are the card networks doing that. So it basically gives the infrastructure to make those things seamless.
And that's actually one of the unique things about Noah, right? Is that you're able to you're able to open and issue USD or Euro bank accounts for non-US persons or non-Euro persons, and that is a pretty big step from just about maybe a year or 2 years ago. And I think one of the things that's really interesting is once you it's not just the bank account, it's not just the access to USD or Euro, because once you have access to USD, you now have access to US financial products as well, which I think is
Or if you want to think of it bigger, is like you have access to the world financial market. Imagine you are let's say Kenyan. You have much more opportunity now, right? You can go and learn engineering. Then you can work for a firm, maybe Algorand, and you can get paid in USD.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big thing.
Well, so I saw that you guys made an announcement recently about the integration with Ledger. So Ledger it now uses Noah to offer Ledger users USD and Euro bank accounts. I'm super excited because that's exactly a use case, for example, that Algorand can leverage. So Para, which is our ecosystem wallet, once we get integrated with Noah, could potentially issue a bank account to a Para wallet user, and that person can get paid in USDC from their payroll. Lofty, which is one of our tokenized real estate platforms, they own a share of a property. They earn rent in USDC, but now they can actually just have that deposit into their bank accounts directly as USD, right? I mean, I think just like the seamlessness of all this, and I guess so those are two examples that I'm thinking about for our ecosystem, but what are some use cases that you're seeing of ecosystems or just the applications that are using Noah?
Yeah, so we see that, so basically Ledger, let's say for Ledger, suddenly the hardware wallet becomes your bank. So you can keep your money in crypto, and then let's say your mom says, hey, you owe me 2,000 euros. You can just automatically do it via the hardware wallet, right? So I think it just it really turns it into everyday use case, right? We are just going. There's going to be an announcement tomorrow. Am I allowed to say? Or okay, maybe I just don't say it. But
you can say it.
But there's a big application going live with Mercado Pago, so then you can just load your stablecoin, and then you can pay ice cream.
Oh, that's awesome!
And we're going to roll out this barcode feature globally, like with Alipay, and so then you can just have like a wallet, and then you load it, and then you can just pay. It's quite interesting. So stablecoins moves around borders much faster. Combined with local payment methods, it's like money moving in seconds. Imagine this. Okay, imagine this use case. This is actually, I want to do a marketing campaign around this with one of our partners. Imagine you, for example. Yeah,
Joran,
you're stuck somewhere. Let's say El Salvador countryside. Then you're like, Shah, it's Sunday, by the way. I need money. I can't pay. I'm in front of a store. Can you send me money? I would just send you stablecoins on your wallet, and then you can just use local payment method and pay it. That's pretty cool, right? So
it's powerful.
Exactly. So I think it's more making money move at the speed of the internet, and it is possible. It was just like we were thinking about it the wrong way. So yeah.
In that use case, so are you also integrated then with, so for example, if you were in Argentina, are you integrated with the Argentinian banks? How does the banking side of that
Yep.
come through?
Payment partners. So it's always the same thing. They want to know our AML KYC procedures. So thank God we are regulated in the US, Canada, Europe, which I think Europe is one of the toughest jurisdictions. So we are definitely prime regulation. And then they look at it and say, okay, well, how do you do that? So we handle all of that. And all you guys do is payouts. And then we follow also some local rules. And then you connect that. But we basically do the legwork of the crypto compliance side, whereby this funds are not coming from any illicit partners. So yeah, we just do that part, and then we connect to the networks.
Right. So it's payments, it's pay-ins, it's payouts. Those are kind of your main use cases. And then growth is through kind of partnerships across global, I guess, networks, if you will.
Yeah, it's very complicated, right? It's like all these compliance stuff globally, right? And then the integrations with the PSPs, and then the experience. Like we need, seconds. I don't want someone to stand at the store for like 40 seconds for the stablecoin to then lead to the local payout. So all this we have to improve. And I think, I'm going to give you another interesting story. When we went live with one of our first customers, which is actually a very famous Argentinian neobank, I remember we built the application, and then my CTO kept coming to me and said, "Shah, this is so crazy. I can press a button on Wise, sending euro to this account, and I see movement on, let's say, Algorand. Like I press a button here, and it's movement on Algorand. Like that's like public." And then I said, "Wow, that's probably the magic moment of crypto, because the magic moment is when consumer adoption happens. Like let's say the AI was around for a long time, but it really took that chat interface where people are like, holy shit, I can talk to a computer, and that really brought a lot of interest. And I think the magic moment for crypto is really this like second value movement, and then touching the fiat rails."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why I think we really believe this bridge between crypto and traditional sort of banking system. The minute you see it happen, that is for sure the magical moment. And that's actually exactly, why we're excited to be working with Noah, to have that happen on Algorand instantly. Of course. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but it was so nice to have you here with us, and we're very excited for this integration to go live. I think it's gonna be live end of year, beginning of the new year, and then we'll see all the cool features that projects get to build, and then you keep us posted on all the new stuff that you guys are launching, because the more you guys build, the more access we get, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode with Shah, and I look forward to seeing you back here next time on Verifiably Random.